on. So I joined the room, I started the machine, so we had some time for it to get started. You never know. And also we don't know how good TryHackMe will work now, since the new room was released less than 2 hours ago, right? So a lot of people might be in here doing stuff, and this is also the room that was suggested yesterday, because there was a short XXE injection yesterday. So let's learn more about it. Exploiting XML external entities. So there was a file that we included into an XML, and that one in the Advent of Cyber. So let's get started with this one. We can copy the IP. Introduction. XXE XML external entity injection is a type of security flaw that exploits vulnerabilities in applications XML input. It occurs when an application accepts XML input that includes external external entity references within the XML itself. Attackers can leverage this vulnerability to disclose local files, make server-side requests, and execute remote code. Given the widespread use of XML in web applications, particularly in web services and SOAP-based APIs, the severity of these vulnerabilities cannot be underestimated. Objectives: recognize the fundamental concepts and dangers associated with XXE injection, identify vulnerable XML processing configurations and practices, develop techniques for detecting, exploiting, and mitigating XXE vulnerabilities in applications. Prerequisites: knowledge of how XML documents are structured, including tags, attributes, and entity references. Familiarity with how web applications process input and manage data. Basic knowledge of OWASP SAP or burp suite. Answer the question. Deploy the Vim target attached to this task by pressing the green Start Machine button. After obtaining the machine's generic IP address, you can either use attack box or your own VM connected to TryHackMe's VPN. After 3 minutes, visit. So we're going to go to its web page to access the machine. So let's hop over. We just have the connection to the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber, right? So let's just, yeah, we're gonna use burp. So let's just start it once too. Will Firefox or burp start quicker? It's usually Firefox. It's already started. So come on. I saw a burp sign there. It's going. So this is another Advent of Cyber room. I'm trying to paste the IP address, but I think burp stole the data. So it stole the... Oh gosh, this is interesting. I'm not clicking. So paste. Yeah, it's not fully started yet. Come on, burp. Let's continue reading. What is XML? XML, Extensible Markup Language, is a markup language derived from SGML, Standard Generalized Markup Language, which is the same standard as HTML is based on. XML is typically used by applications to store and transport data in a format that's both human readable and machine parsable. It's a flexible and widely used format for exchanging data between different systems and applications. XML consists of elements, attributes, and character data, which are used to represent data in a structured and organized way. XML syntax and structure. XML elements are represented by tags, which are surrounded by angle brackets. Tags usually come in pairs, with the opening tag preceding the contents and closing tag following the contents. example. So we also have the XML version. The tag name John and name, I guess, represents the element name. With the content John, attributes provide additional information about elements and are specified within the opening tag. The tag user ID 1 specifies the attribute ID with the value 1 for the element user. Character data refers to the content within elements such as John. The example above shows a simple XML document with elements, attributes, and character data. The tag XML version 1 encoding UTF-8 declaration indicates XML version. The element contains various sub-elements and attributes representing user data. Common use cases in web applications. XML is widely used in web applications for data exchange, storage, and configuration. It's often used for web services and APIs such as SOAP and REST to exchange data between systems. XML is also used for configuration files such as web servers, configurations, and application settings. What is XSLT? XSLT, it doesn't really flow off the tongue, does it? XSLT. Extensible Style Sheet Language Transformations is a language used to transform and format XML documents, whilst XSLT is primarily used for data transformation and formatting. Is also significantly relevant in XXE, XML external entities attacks. XSLT can be used to facilitate XXE attacks in several ways. Data extraction. XSLT can be used to extract sensitive data from an XML document, which can then be used in an XXE attack. For example, an XSLT style sheet can extract user credentials and other sensitive information from an XML file. Entity expansion. XSLT can expand entities defined in XML document, including external entities. That can allow an attacker to inject malicious entities, leading to an XXE vulnerability. Data manipulation. XSLT can manipulate data in an XML document, potentially allowing an attacker to inject malicious data or modify existing data to exploit an XXE vulnerability. I want examples, you know. This is just a long list of stuff. Blind XXE. XSLT can be used to perform blind XXE attacks, in which an attacker injects malicious entities without seeing the server's response. So, extensible style sheet language transformations. Okay, so what are DTDs? DTD are document type definitions, define the structure and constraints of an XML document. They specify the allowed elements, attributes, and the relationships between them. DTD can be internal within the XML document or external in a separate file. Purpose and usage of DTDs. Validation. DTDs validate the structure of XML to ensure it meets specific criteria before processing, which is crucial in environments where data integrity is key. Entity declaration. DTDs define entities that can be used throughout the XML document, including external entities which are key in XXE attacks. Internal DTDs are specified using the doc type declaration, while external DTDs are referenced using a system keyword. So do we get examples of both? No. Only doc type config. The above example shows an internal DTD defining the structure of a configuration file. The element declarations specify the allowed elements and the relationships. And we saw this, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was. So DTDs and XXE. DTDs play a crucial role in XXE injection, as they can be used to declare external entities. External entities can reference external files or URLs, which can lead to malicious data or code injection. XML entities. XML entities are placeholders for data or code that can be expanded within an XML document. There are 5 types of entities: internal entities, external entities, parameter entities, general entities, and character entities. So give us examples, please. Example: external entity. Entity external system, as I mentioned above too. HTTP .ttd config, yeah, and external here is like the variable name for it, and this is how we use it then in the XML file. This shows an external entity reference in a URL. The external reference within the XML document will be expanded to the contents of the reference URL. Types of entities. Internal entities are essentially variables used within an XML document to define and substitute content that may be repeated multiple times. They are defined in the DTD and can simplify the management of repetitive information. For example, inf, this is a test. In this example, the inf entity is replaced by its value, whether it appears in the document, whenever. So this will be this is a test instead of inf. External entities are similar to internal entities, but their contents are referenced from outside the XML documents, such as from a separate file or URL. This feature can be exploited in XXE. XML external entity attacks, if the XML processor is configured to resolve external entities. So, this file, or this document's contents will be inserted here. Oh look, it's a question mark. Here, X pulls the contents of a specified URL, which could be a security risk if the URL is controlled by an attacker. Parameter entries are special types of entities used within DTDs to define reusable structures or to include external DTD subsets. They are particularly useful for modularizing DTDs and for maintaining large-scale XML applications. For example, so we have a node here, entity common cdata, element name common. So I don't know what this means here. In this case, common is used within the DTD to define the type of data that the name element should contain, but still no explanation about this line. General entities are similar to variables and can be declared either internally or externally. They're used to define substitutions that can be used within the body of the XML document. Unlike parameter entities, general entities are intended for use in the document content. For example, entity author. So it's not like we'll remember all of this from one read, right? We have to use it and have examples to remember and understand everything. The entity author is a general entity used to substitute the author's name wherever it's referenced in the document. Character entities are used to represent special or reserved characters that cannot be used directly in XML documents. Okay, so it's just characters. Yeah, so we know these, right? These entities prevent the parser from misinterpreting XML syntax. For example, and LT. Less than, greater than, and ampersand. This usage ensures that the special characters are processed correctly by the XML parser without breaking the document structure. The image below shows the type of entities in a DOM structure. Okay, so there's enough data. I don't think this will make anything clearer, right? We've already had all the information in text. Source. Okay. What is the meaning of the acronym SGML? So I could Control F, right? So we copy this. So now I definitely heard the door. Oh, DTD is mentioned a million times. I love to scroll. Here. Document type definitions. So, I hope it's not just text, all of it. Then I'll be disappointed. XML parsing mechanisms. XML parsing is a process by which an XML file is read, and its information is accessed and manipulated by a software program. XML parsers convert data from XML format into a structure that a program can use, like a DOM tree. During this process, parsers may validate XML data against a schema or DTD, ensuring that the structure conforms to certain rules. If a parser is configured to process external entities, it can lead unauthorized access to files, internal systems, or external websites. Common XML parsers. Several XML parsers are used across different programming environments. Each parser can handle HTML, XML data differently, which can affect vulnerability to XXE injection. DOM, Document Object Model Parser. This method builds an entire XML document into a memory-based tree structure, allowing random access to all parts of the document. It's a resource-intensive but very flexible. SAX, Simple API for XML Parser. Parses XML data sequentially without loading the whole document into memory, making it suitable for large XML files. However, it is less flexible for accessing XML data randomly. STAX, Streaming API for XML Parser. Similar to SAX, STAX parses XML documents in a streaming fashion, but gives a programmer more control over the XML parsing process. XPath parser parses an XML document based on expression and is used extensively in conjunction with XSLT. Answer the question below. What XML parser builds the entire document into memory-based DOM parser? So it's very nice. It will uppercase that for us. Yeah. So nice with the new TryHackMe. It doesn't stay like lowercase or whatever. No. I'm just checking how long it is. So still no testing of stuff. I don't want lots of data and then, by the way, let's remove this so we don't have the purple lines on. So, exploiting XXE in-band. In-band versus out-of-band XXE. In-band XXE refers to an XXE vulnerability where the attacker can see the response from the server. This allows for straightforward data exfiltration and exploitation. The attacker can simply send malicious XML payload to the application, and the server will respond with the extracted data or the result of the attack. Out-of-band XXE, on the other hand, refers to an XXE vulnerability where the attacker cannot see the response from the server. This requires using alternative channels such as DNS or HTTP requests to exfiltrate data. To extract the data, the attacker must craft a malicious XML payload that will trigger an out-of-band request, such as a DNS query or a HTTP request. In-band XXE exploitation. So, starting with the easy stuff. We will be using Burp for this room to demonstrate this vulnerability. Go to contact. So, Burp started. I didn't think it would be that long before we actually used it. So, contact.php. By the way, now I'm curious. Yeah, so of course there's something here too, right? Drag and drop a file here to click to select a file. Easy share. So we'll probably get there too, right? So we will be using Burp for this room to demonstrate its vulnerability. Go to currently, fill out the form. So let's fill out something and then look at it. So not much name. I actually, well, it got a name. Okay. So I hope there's no test.com because they will get a lot of test mails. No, what? If there is, it's probably... Thank you, main. Your message has been received. So that was supposed to be name. So let's see here. We submitted here. Let's repeat this. I'm assuming we're gonna send something else here, right? So how will we use this? Click the submit message and intercept the request. The submitted data is processed by contact submit PHP, which contains a vulnerable PHP code designed to return the value of the name parameter as a user submits a message in the form. Below is the vulnerable code. So here it sets a false as libxml disable entity loader. So it's okay to load entities. If server request method post file get contents PHP input. Doc new document load XML data libxml no and libxml dtd load. Expand content doc get element by tag name text contents. Thank you expand content. So expand content doc so of course there need to be more stuff there. Since the application returns a value of the name parameter, we can inject an entity that is pointing to its password to disclose its value. So we'll just change, we add entity here. So let's just send this. I'm just checking how similar it is to what we already have, and it's just some syntax to make it not take so many lines, right? So here, so if we send this, we get thank you root. Your message has been received. So we get the full its password there. Yeah, I need to make notes on this too, I know. I really should. So we got its password there, and this syntax here, doc type foo, element foo, any entity XXE system file. So this line, entity variable name system, and then a path file colon. This line I understand, but what does any mean? And like I want to know more about this bit. We'll see. Hopefully we'll see here. XML entity expansion is a technique often used in XXE attacks that involves defining entities within an XML document, which the XML parser then extends. Attackers can abuse this feature by creating recursive or excessively large entities, leading to a denial of service DOS attack. I think I've actually seen that. Or defining external entities referencing sensitive files or services. This method is central in both in-band and out-of-band XXE, and it allows attackers to inject malicious entities into an XML data. For example, like this is a test message. So twice there. So this is if we were to have a normal like variable giving it a value. We would do entity XXE. This is a test message. To compare to this one, entity XXE, and instead of a value we have this. So system this. So system needs to translate this so we understand it. And that gets a value that is inserted here then. But what about foo? So in this one it says doc type foo, element foo, any 2, as in that one. So let's continue reading. In the payload above, and XXE is expanded whenever it appears. Attackers can use entity expansion to perform a billion laughs attack, where the small XML document recursively expands to consume server resources, leading to denial of service. Yeah. So we didn't get any more information. What XXE vulnerability occurs when the server response is immediately disclosed to the attacker without use of... I guess it will say in band, but there's one extra character, so there's a dash too. Yeah, in dash band. So you have to check the characters in band. Let's see. In what content of the file? Alright. What is the content? So let's check this file. So file name and in Opti. Alright. So, thank you. Your message has been received. This is not very good, right? We didn't get it. Oh, it's .txt. I double clicked, so I didn't get the full file, full name. So here we have the file didn't exist that we added, so it got empty. There. Out of band. Out of band XXE. On the other hand, to demonstrate this vulnerability, go to index.php. Okay? So, I guess it's the one we had, right? But let's type it to be sure. Yeah, it's the one we had. The application uses the below code when a user uploads a file. libxml disable, entity loader false again. File get contents php input. Yeah, so I think I will probably ask ChatGPT to for a detailed explanation of everything, right? Because so we get what get file contents means, right? PHP : input though, I'm not sure about. Let us put whatever it is in a variable called XML data, and then XML data, comma, so maybe this is a hint what it is. So the full data. Anyway, it's not totally explained here. I want the full thing. Then again, this time it's only called doc instead. Get elements by tag name file. So file is what it's called when it's sending. For each link is link. File link, node value. Come prepare, insert into uploads, link, upload date, values, question mark now. STMT bind param as file link, execute. Affected rows, if it's more than one, or more than 0 of course. The link saved successfully, error saving link, close. So, prepare. Interesting. So, the code above doesn't return the values of the submitted XML data. Hence, the term out of band, since the accelerated data has to be captured using an attacker-controlled server. For this attack, we will need a server that will receive data from other servers. You can use Python's HTTP server module, although there are options out there like Apache or Nginx, using attack box or your machine. Start a Python server. Yeah, let's just start. So Python 3. Is it M? Right, yeah. There. So using the command M server, well, we're using another one. We're using 8000. Upload a file to the application and monitor request that is sent to submit PHP using your burp. Forward the request below. to burp repeater. So any file. So what file do we have? I think I have a few images or something. In my shells directory. Oh, look, this should be purple. No, can't edit it. Let's do this. File, there was a file. So we get back the link. I think that was from some TryHackMe or something box. So this is not what I was doing. I was going to burp. Let's look at the latest one. Submit. So now we can modify it. We have upload file. There's none of the advanced thingies now in the default one that it's just sending. Using the payload below, replace a value of the XML file with the request and resend it. Now that you have to replace the attacker IP with a value variable with your IP. Yeah, of course. So now we have a doc type foo, element foo, any. So I guess this is just a normal kind of thing that people always need to do for this. But I'm curious. I'm going to just explore what happens if we don't do it, you know? What happens then? Nothing, I'm guessing. So here's the other one. And as we can see, this file name is just replaced with the variable name here. And let's put our IP in port here. So 8000. And I haven't learned my new IP yet. 10. I haven't done enough boxes apparently because it's a very easy IP. It's a very easy. 10, 21, 31. I should remember that, right? So let's delete this. So this is one line also. It's prettified. That's why it's like this. So now we look. We got it was sent here, the request. But how do we get data there? We can just put it as a name, right? So hello. So send this. This response will look the same, but if we look here, we have hello here instead. So let's now play with this thing. So what happens if I remove Annie? And let's change this to... God, I'm just clicking end here. It can't do it. I'll have to use arrows. 1, 2, 3. So I just remove the Annie to see what happens. It took longer time and we didn't get anything here. So that is definitely required. but I don't know exactly what it is, right? So obviously we can name this whatever we want, right? Element foo any. Doc type foo. And then this foo. Oh gosh, I was clicking end again. So all the way over here, these parentheses end. So maybe it's easier to actually do. No, let's look at the pretty one. So why doesn't this like indent these or anything? I can't change the format here. Spaces doesn't do anything. Veggies in my teeth. Okie dokie. So let's just copy this one. And before I continue, I need a bit of help from ChatGPT here. We can remove that. So please explain. The provided XML is a demonstration of an XXE vulnerability. So prologue declares the document as XML. DTD defines an element foo with any, meaning it can include any child elements. Now we know what any is. Thank you, ChatGPT. Defines an external entity, XXE. It's the name of the variable, which points to the remote resource. The upload element includes a file element. Yeah, this is what I wanted to know. So we have the explanation of what any is. It's that what type of elements it can contain. It can contain any element, any child element. So maybe I would like a bit more even. So what about the square parentheses, for example, right? Let's see if it says anything else. When the XML parser, yeah. What about the and the entity line details? So I know what it does, I just want to know the details. Here's a detailed explanation about the doc type declaration and its component, focusing on the square brackets and the entity line. Doc type foo declares the document structure and specifies additional rules for parsing. Foo is the name of the root element expected in the XML. Though the actual root element can be different, this won't cause an error in most parsers. The square brackets enclose internal DTD subsets, which define custom entities or rules, such as entity declarations. Okay. Element foo any defines a structure for the foo element. Any means a foo element can contain any content, elements, text, etc. Entity XXE system URL defines the external entity named XXE. System indicates that the entity points to an external resource, to any external from this document, right? when referenced as and XXE semicolon in the HTML content, it will replace it with the content fetched from a specified URL. Purpose of exploitation. The entity and bracket structure allows characters to inject an external resource reference. Yeah, I didn't ask for this explanation though. So here we got the first hint, and then we got the details exactly on how this works. And note that you have to place a tag B. Yeah. Send the modified HTTP request. So we did, and we checked here, and we tested also to send more data here. After sending the modified HTTP request, the Python server will receive a connection from the target machine. The establishment of a connection with the server indicates that sensitive information can be extracted from the application. We can now create a DTD file that contains an external entity with a PHP filter to exfiltrate data from a targeted web application. Okay. Save the sample DTD file below and name it as sample DTD. The payload will exfiltrate the contents of its password and send the response back to the technical control server. So let's read it. Entity %. Here's the thing that I didn't know what it meant before, and I still don't. CMD system. PHP filter convert base64 encode resource its password. Okay, it's base64ing it. Percent OOBXXE. And entity exfil system. Well, let's put it in there first, right? So yeah, so I'm guessing I will replace this bit only. No, not even that. Let's just see here. System, and then this is a path, or rather it's the PHP path. Resource its password locally. Then entity OOBXXE exfil system HTTP and our IP. So 10, 21, 31, 111, 8000. Percent data, and then we have the variable, meaning the contents of its password. So data equals the base64 encoded its password there, and then so before we send it, so please explain especially the percent after entity, because I don't know what that is. This XML snapper represents more advanced XXE attacks that uses parameter entities. Oh, so this is parameter entities. So what is this? This thingy up here. So parameter entities. So we had parameter entities, right? So is it just me not reading thoroughly enough? No, I remember saying, what's that, right? And it was also long text, and it didn't give examples of everything. Here. And this is parameter entities, a special type that utilized within DTDs to define reusable structures. Reusable structures. Or to include external DTD subsets. They are particularly useful for modularizing DTDs and for maintaining large-scale XML applications. Yeah, so it said what common is, but it doesn't say what percent is here. It's just a syntax for a parameter entity. Internal, external means system here. So parameter means percent here. General. How does general differ from internal? Entity inf did. And then we have the entity do. I don't see a difference. And then this characters. So let's hop back. Yeah, we're going to do it the normal way instead of that. So oh, they have an explanation here too. So we can read that one too. Parameter entity declaration. Parameter entity percent TMD. Yeah, so here they put it together. I was kind of thinking that it's probably the same as putting them together. So this is a parameter entry with a percent. Unlike general entities and entity name, parameter entities are used within DTDs. System indicates an entity fetches content from a specific location. In this case, uses PHP filter. Stream wrapper. Read the sponsored file, a sensitive file in Unix systems. Well, we don't need to read that. Basics for it. Entity percent. XXE. Entity exfil system. And then we use this. Send the data. It defines another parameter in D. Embeds another general. So I'm currently thinking, wasn't there a file it wanted us to make? Yeah, this file. That's not supposed to be in the request. Right. Why didn't I do that? Because I was running back and forth? I don't know. So, we haven't gotten to the text saying what to send yet. We're supposed to... Let's just go back. Right, I was going to ask about this too. We'll do that. For this attack, we'll need a server to receive data from other servers. Yeah. We can now create a DTD file that contains the external entity with a PHP filter to exfiltrate data. So this is what this was. I totally forgot and put it in there. It was like, what? Because it didn't remove the other, you know, because it felt odd. So let's just delete that again. Let's make a file. XXE get its password, and it's supposed to be .dtd. So I'm thinking I need a folder for these kind of things. Web is a bit wide, but XXE is a bit narrow. I'll do web. And it knows DTD format, so it colored it for us. So let's read this explanation. I don't know if I finished activities. A parameter entity CMD is defined. Maybe I read it all. Yeah, it's just about base64 and stuff. Key concepts: parameter entities, percent. Used only in DTDs. Allow DTD specific entity substitution. General entities, and used within the main XML content for entity substitution. Chaining. Parameter entities like CMD and %CMD and %OBXXE are chained to dynamically construct and trigger the attack. And mitigation. Disable entity resolving. So let's see their explanation too, and we will have to add it to our request. The DTD begins with a declaration of an entity, %CMD. Here they've written together too. that points to the system source. The %cmd entity refers to the resource within a PHP filter protocol. Now, this doesn't say anything more than what I already read when I read the text. It retrieves the content of its password, convert base64, filtering entity contains an XML entity declaration, xfil, which is a system identifier pointing to a tech control server. It includes username data with CMD representing the base64 encoded content of. So it's just to read the text. We already read that. Go back to the repeater and change the payload to sample DTD, though we called it something else. So for us, the file now is web / XXE, not 3, get at password .dtd. Let's make sure that I didn't miss anything. Oh, there's a lot of difference. So doc type is now upload. So instead of all of that, we just say upload. And this is the same line. I just made it long. So doc type, and then upload file and xfil to remind ourselves about this. This is the name here of this. The variable xfil is a variable containing our IP address, port, data equals, and the contents base64 encoded. And the reason to do the steps is we can use the filter convert here. Okie dokie. So then we run this. And it took a bit longer, but we have much more data too. So if we wanted to, we could decode it. Maybe we should, right? So let's make a echo. So I keep this one in my history now. So we have all of the data again. Prettier this time, right? So return request and check your terminal. You will have 2 requests. Yeah, right, we didn't really look at the first one. But of course it got this file because it used it, right? So if I would have mistyped this, it wouldn't have worked. Because this is gotten from the data in this. The code. So it's not code, but it's code. Can't say doing base64 is not code, right? It's instructions. What kind of XXE vulnerability occurs when the response of the server is not visible to the attacker? Well, out of band, I guess, with dashes, right? So, out dash, off dash, band, XXE. SSRF and XXE. So, now we're going to get sorry for the weddies keep getting stuck between my teeth, sorry. A server-side request forgery, SSRF attacks, occur when an attacker abuses functionality on the server, causing a server to make requests to an unintended location. In the context of XXE, an attacker can manipulate XML input to make the server issue requests to internal services or access internal files. Thus, the technique can be used to scan internal networks, access restricted endpoints, or interact with services that are only accessible from the server's local network. Internal network scanning. Consider a scenario where a vulnerable server hosts another web application internally on a non-standard port. An attacker can exploit an XXE vulnerability that makes the server send a request to its own internal network resource. For example, using the captured request from the in-band XXE task, we can send
I was reading on GPT would mean XXE Injection.
Only 6 hours yet. Maybe I shouldn't stream this long every day. So what time is it? I just checked, like 2020. Consider a scenario where a vulnerable server. Yeah, I read this, for example. Use the capture request from an in-band XXE task. Send the capture request to burp intruder and see payload below. So, okay, intruder to find what port. So, but intruder is just so horribly slow. I should really start using Turbo Intruder. I've been saying that.
Are you learning programming at university or on your own like I did?
I learned programming in, what was it, 7th grade or something. But I had done it home before that. So, I don't know what you would call that. So it's in basic school. So I guess I learned it on my own first, right? So, what time was that?
Which universities do you recommend?
In Sweden. I only know Swedish ones. Yeah, so you can't say, because it's not really the university, it's the teacher, right? I recommend the courses that where you interact with the other students, where it's not like an online course, read this from a book or from the web or watch this video. But it's actually live things, like Zoom or whatever, right? And it's hard to see before you apply to a course. Some courses I've applied to and got in, and I've been like, yeah, so what? You want me to watch a video and do a programming task? Well, I can just read my book or whatever and watch YouTube. So I want something where you actually have interaction with other people. You know, that's the fun of learning.
The computer taught me English XD only.
Yeah. So then I'm always disappointed when they want you to like read chapter 3 in a book, and then you should do a task or type a document and send it to them. It's like, yeah, but where's the school thing? I mean, it's an interactive social thing to me. I don't want to like just sit by my computer alone and do stuff. So I'm seriously thinking about calling. I think I'll do that. Let's call the pizzeria and awesome.
Kotlin, translated from Polish.
Right, yeah. I should do Kotlin. I actually have a course that's like university course right now that I haven't looked much at. But it was also very basic, what I looked at. So we could do that quickly. But it was in Swedish, so I didn't want to continue on stream. So let's just call them again. Hej, jag beställde pizza vid 19. Barnen börjar bli hungriga. Superbra. Tack så mycket. Hej. So
people say Kotlin can learn in 3 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You can learn anything in 3 hours, but not in depth, right? So I called the pizza place again, and I heard last time that he was in the car, and he said he's here in 2 minutes. So I should probably go down and pay for the pizza. So, payment app. This is how I pay for the pizza.
So go down.
He might have been exaggerating, you know? I can hear the car. I will hear the car. So I can almost see the street between my screens here. My kids will be happy. So let's hop back to Burp, and we'll see how far we get, right? Tabbing on Windows instead of here. So I heard my kid running in the stairs, so check. The external entity is set to fetch the data. Intruder will reiterate the request and search for an external service running on the server. Let's just let's change it. What? There's like new stuff here. Oh right, yeah. Yeah, I noticed. We don't have to hop between tabs anymore, right? Do we? It's better. So, oh, machine expiring soon. Add an hour. It's still 15 minutes left. So, let's keep the XML one there. Yeah, so now it pops up stuff here when it noticed this. So let's delete the characters. It won't. Yeah, so I have to add them first. Here's the buttons now. Yeah, I like this. I noticed this on Tiberi's stream. This is much nicer to have them at the same page. There's no reason to have to tab to another page. This is great. So, let's look at this. Let's see if it's actually updated. So they still have the different tabs here, which is kind of not very odd because I think it's quite new. Not that I use Intruder like every day, but yeah, list numbers. It's kind of what? Okay, so let's just click there again, because yeah, so it looks different on theirs. So let's just do numbers from 1 to, yeah, they're doing the full thing. It's still not there, so 2 minutes was definitely exaggerated. I'm glad I didn't stand down there jumping, waiting. So once done, click to start. Yeah, this will take a long time, a real long time. It will get a pop-up that it's slow. This is a demo version. So, though, probably, right, we will get something. Yeah, length. So we'll see the difference. I was going to look at one first to see what they look like, so we can see. Oh, response was what I was going for. So let's just sort them on size. We have nothing yet. It's just on 138. Do you realize how slow that is? So, demo version, purposefully slowed down. 142, 143. Yeah, so that's crazy. Well, it's going. We can't see the number. So it should respond to name, which is the response to this, right? So once done, click the Start Attack button and click the Length column to sort which item has the largest size. The difference in the server's response size is worth further investigation, since it might contain information that's different compared to other intro requests. And they see this. So this bit from here, can, until the end here, is the contents of this web page, the local one, right? Localhost port. On that, shouldn't the response to AD be different? Apparently not, but I think they did that on purpose. As we're connecting. It's on 176. Usually, you know, you don't want that kind of thing. I'm going to confirm that. I already did confirm that it did the same thing as they did, though. So if you click one of them, we can see that it says 116 here. So the response... Oh, that's nothing. Yeah. Let's go again. We didn't do this one in repeater, right? So let's go back. Maybe we have this one too. This is where we get the message. What do I have in my paste? So the difference really is this line, or rather those two, right? It's so slow, I didn't notice it actually doing anything. So that is the file, and that is that. So when we send this, we get an empty thank you message. So I think something went wrong with the other one. This one, because we get only empty messages. So didn't I click set intruder? Alright, I get it. I did, but I was going to add this and it's already there, of course. But why are those characters there? So if we do the same again with numbers, and let's do it from 1, 2. Let's do 1 to 5 just to test. And we know it is slow. And now we're actually getting responses with this. I don't know what was wrong before, but it looked correct. But something was off. So now it's fixed. So now we can go for the full list. No. I want to be able to click this. Now I could. Okay, 3rd time. So now let's start it again, and let's hope it's not slow. I mean that the hit will be early. And it should really be longer, right? Because there's supposed to be text in there. They're correct now. They're just empty for the ones. So the only difference here is the number here. 99 or 100. Yeah, so we have a result here. 81. Port 81. So copy. It was actually very good. It wasn't the normal cheese, it was something else. And it was only pineapple on the pizza. What port is in the internal hosted on? 81. So there. But are we going to do anything else too? Well, let's scroll up here. So oh, so they are just looking at the requests too. How the server processes this. The entity XXE is referenced within the name tag, triggering the server to make an HTTP request to the specified URL when the XML is parsed. The response of the requested resource will then be included in the server response. If an application contains secret keys, API keys, or hard-coded passwords, this information can be used in another form of attack, such as password reuse. Potential security implications. Reconnaissance. Attackers can discover services running on internal network ports and gain insights into the server's internal architecture. Data leakage. If the internal service returns sensitive information, it could be exposed externally through errors or XML data output. Elevation of privilege. Accessing internal services could lead to further exploits, potentially escalating an attacker's capabilities within the network. So, what I'm thinking right now is nodes, right? Especially before we close down Burp, I want to have these requests as examples, and I don't think we will send anything more. We will maybe Let's see what they say about mitigations. Yeah, so it's a bit of text only. Let's actually open. I don't know why my start menu doesn't pop up sometimes. So this is about the rotor. So let's go to web exploration vulnerabilities. I don't have an XXE here, so let's make a new note there, and I'm gonna put the requests here to start with. Let's go base for the different types. Yeah, so I mean the intruder thingy. Let's pause it. It doesn't have to go anymore. And we want the other window. And we want repeater, the first tab, the first request. So here. This is the basic one. I'm thinking of changing it to a folder. Let's make a new folder called XXE. And let's instead call the files. Well, there could be an XXE one, but let's have a new folder. No. New note. In band XXE example, and here we put the request. Never done this before, not a million times. There, I think I might have deleted an extra now. There, so request, and we have the response, and I'm gonna copy it with the full. That's why I thought I'll make separate files, because this is kind of a lot of data, right? We don't want to have interesting text in the middle of this. So how many lines can we see? We can only see one, so there was like one more every other line there. So this was a simple example here with this. Then we'll have information in this document. Now let's make the phone is just saying it is 21. Let me just close all of this stuff. So that was the in band. Then let's do the out of band one, and then this one. So request, response, And then we do HTTP. There. And let's hop over here. These are like, let's this was just another file we got. Then we have the text file with a flag. Yeah, I forgot the .text. Then we have the requests there. Yeah. So this is the last one, really. So let's take the opportunity before we make more things here. Can I duplicate this? Make a copy. It could. So this is Saraf. XXE example. Oops. Yeah, so my kid's pizza almost made me think maybe I don't hate pizza after all. Maybe pineapple is a thing. No, but I think there was something special with the cheese, and it also wasn't. Usually they almost burn them. Or they burn them. This wasn't. So it's a difference then. So response failure response. Since this was whatever, right? So why does this one keep saying it can't charge there? So when the phone starts saying it can't charge, I'll have to pop it out of the charger and back again. That's a failure example. Short and quick. So I think we have all the tabs of this one done. So let's bye that, and then we have here we started with this. And then we added just hello to test that we can give it data. Because that's what I thought of. I'm looking again. The embed example. Right. This is out of band example. Should we put the hello one as example? Maybe we should put the advanced one too, more advanced one. We'll have to put both. So here we need to add a third data. Here's the hello one. Our HTTP server. That's what we got from this. We have the more advanced example too, which gets this data. So I'm going to copy the same thing again, and let's have it in the same file. Exam 1, making it obvious that there's example 2, right? So, there. And I want to put the request and response here too, of course. So we really learn and remember everything. Yeah, those. So let's see. That's the hello one. We do 1, 2, 3. Then we send this one. We also have to add. Why didn't I control A? Yes, I did on all the others. So there. So you're also sitting by the computer Friday night. Like I do. Though I do have the kids here, of course. It's not like there's choices. Request, response, of course. And local file created. Local file. My God. If I type something after having selected something, I want it to be deleted. Not that way. That's the file name. No, I'm just cheating by pasting it. And the file contents. Will text work? Not that it will color anything. This is actually DTD. I don't think it can do DTD, right? So let's hop over here and look here. Paste. It could. It did it. Ah, that's nice. So then we can see that here, exfil that is used here, it is from inside this file. Nice. Maybe this is not like prettified. So in burp we see the prettified version, right? Yeah. Why did it change the color though? Because it is a HTTP format, not XML. So I could do XML here. and it will do this instead, and that's not as pretty, right? So let's leave it at HTTP, because it did HTTP most of it. And let's do the same here so it's easier to read. So
Born Again says, how do you back up your Obsidian notes?
I have them on GitHub and they're public. So I sometimes push them to GitHub whenever I can make local commits, of course, too. But if you go GitHub, you'll find my notes under Obsidian public. So GitHub.
Nice.
So everything I write, all my notes are available for the one who's interested in them. So let's close this. We have put this in the notes. We have it still there if we want to look at it again, you know. And since it was its password, it might be interesting, you know. Now we have more things that we can do. Right. Let's put this in here too. Why not? So as we got the password file, we might want to like. So let's do base 64 decode. So there we have the whole thing. So if this was a box we were doing, you know, this would be great. To get some more information from them. So now we have out of band XXE examples. We have SSRF example. We need the success response there too. And let's. I don't know if we'll need this more because we're still doing the room, right? So I'll keep it up. But all of these repeater thingies are done, and this one is in the notes already, but this response here is what I wanted to have. There. So we have this example. This is very interesting too. Let's go back to TryHackMe and read about mitigation in conclusion. So, avoiding misconfigurations. Misconfigurations in XML parser settings are a common cause of XXE-related vulnerabilities. Adjusting these settings can significantly reduce the risk of XXE attacks. Below are detailed guidelines and best practices for several popular programming languages and frameworks. General best practices. This might be something we want to put in the notes too, you know. And maybe more data on what it actually means to, right? The characters, the format of the DTD and all the things. So, disable external entities and DTDs. As best practice, disable the processing of external entities and DTDs in your XML parsers. Most XXE vulnerabilities arise from malicious DTDs. And we noticed how powerful that could be, right? Having our own file available and it is saved and available. Use less complex data format. Where possible, consider using simpler data formats like JSON, which do not allow the specification of external entities. Allow listing input validation. Validate all incoming data against a strict schema that defines expected data types and patterns, not the any, in other words, right? Exclude or escape XML-specific characters such as these characters are crucial in XML syntax and can lead to injection attacks if misused. So user data shouldn't have these characters. Mitigation techniques in popular languages. Java. Yeah, so maybe this is more like a list that we should have somewhere than actually stuff to read. We won't remember that Java we need to do these, right? So I won't read them. Use a document builder factory to disable DTDs. Yeah. .NET, configure XML readers to ignore DTDs and external entities. PHP, disable loading external entities by libxml, and this is what we've seen with Falseair in these. Python, use diffused XML library, which is designed to mitigate XML vulnerabilities. Import parse and parse XML input. So my battery is dying in my ear, so I'll have to switch ears again. Meaning 7 hours. Okay. So from regularly update and patch. Software updates keep all XML processor libraries up to date. Vendors frequently patch unknown vulnerabilities. Security patches regularly apply security patches to web applications and their environments. Security awareness and code reviews. Conduct code reviews. Regularly review code for security vulnerabilities, especially code that handles XML input and parsing. Promote security training. Ensure developers are aware of security coding practices, including the risk associated with XML parsing. Click me to proceed to the next task. Okay, we'll do that. Conclusion. So the reason to put this in my notes is mostly like you're supposed to have mitigations, right? If you were to do pen testing or something, right? It's not like I'm going to code a lot of web apps. I don't plan to with XML. Conclusion. XXE. XML external entities attacks arise upon improper handling of user-supplied input in web applications, particularly in XML parsing. Attackers exploit vulnerable XML processors and inject malicious external entities, leading to data exfiltration, server compromise, or denial of service. XXE vulnerabilities can be prevented by disabling external entity expansion, validating user input, and using secure XML parsing libraries. Additionally, implementing security best practices such as input validation, output encoding, and secure coding practices can significantly reduce the risk of XXE attacks. Regular security audits, code reviews, and training on secure development practices are essential for identifying and mitigating XXE vulnerabilities. By understanding the risks and taking proactive measures, developers and administrators can protect their web applications from XXE attacks and ensure the security and integrity of their systems. So, recap of key concepts covered in this room. In this training room, we've covered a comprehensive range of topics related to XXE, XML, external entity vulnerabilities. They're repeating a lot of times, so maybe I'll even remember it, what XXE stands for. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Which are critical to understanding how these vulnerabilities can impact web security. Here's a quick recap. Understanding XML. We explored the basics of XML syntax and structure, including the use of DTDs and how they can be exploited. XML parsing mechanisms. We discussed different XML parsers and their configurations, emphasizing the secure practices. Exploiting XXE. Detailed steps were provided to exploit XXE vulnerabilities, ranging from basic data exploitation to advanced techniques like out-of-band XXE, XXE, and SSRF. We explore the concept of SSRF attacks via XXE for out-of-band data exfiltration and how to scan internal networks using this attack. Mitigation strategies to prevent XXE vulnerabilities were outlined, focusing on avoiding misconfigurations and reinforcing secure coding practices. I can now exploit
Madam Fabulous
XXE.
says.
Fix at 42 wave.
Welcome back, Cyber Enigma.
Fixerbot says.
Thanks for the lurk, Cypher Enigma.
Of course, we have to try if the lurk works, right?
Madam Fabulous says.
:D.
So, let's go through and get some more data to the notes, because all we have so far is actually examples, right? So they're great examples, but still, they're only examples. So, I don't think there's much need to be added here. These are kind of not complicated syntax. What is complicated is the out-of-band one. Let's start with this one. First of all, the Annie here. This is good to remember. But let's put those in this XXE. So here we have more stuff. So that one's about the same as the one before, but here we have the file with the %cmd. I almost want to do this again with removing the space to make sure it's actually exactly the same, but I don't think I would do it. This is okay. As long as we know that this is the syntax, and we can see here, we use PHP filter convert basics foreign code resource equals its password, and then we use this variable here. So right, the CMD here is this, and this is this, but this one does not use, here's the system here. Right. So this is run with this. Or this is like complicated DTD, you know. Right, so this is what's I think I need to check back what actually is DTD, right? So I think it's in here. Document type definitions. My tummy wants more food. I have food. Why isn't it pleased? So, internal DTDs are specified using doc type. So when we have a doc type, this is a DTD. And then we can have them external. And that's when we can do fun stuff. So almost I should reread the whole part with the basic stuff now when we have seen examples. I would really like to do the examples first and then read the facts, because then you have a tiny grip on what it is, you know. And then you can make your knowledge deeper. But I don't want to reread all of this, right now. Yeah, let's put this in my THM, like TTS this for repetition sometime when I have time, when will probably never. I could put this in TTS while I'm making food or something. So, what should we do now? I don't think I want to do with the rotor today because I'm a bit tired. Maybe something lightweight like this again. We saved another room too. By the way, we should remove this one from the list. So this is done. So let's delete it. So the other ones from... Oh, look. This one is twice. I think these four are from their day. It's much for me to eat it once. So, logs are not my favorite thing, but also it's great to know these things, right? Yeah, we can let it expire. We can close it. So, is there anyone who has a suggestion what we should do? We could do anything.